Today we're going to be talking about front tires and my new favorite front tire. And for those of you that maybe have a short attention span, I'll just skip right to it. My new favorite front tire is... well, shit. My new favorite front tire right now is the VX30 by IRC. I'm running this tire in a 90/90/21 size, and I really like this tire. But before I get into why I like it, let's give you guys an idea of what tires I've run previously, so you get an idea of sort of what my experience is with other tires, pros and cons with each of those, and that might give you a more informed view of why I like this VX30 so much. So let's skip over to my previous VX30, which is this one here on the left. That tire has about 70 hours on it. As you can see, it's looking really good. Not a lot of tearing at all. In fact, I don't think any knobs have torn on it. I just have a little bit of rounding off on that braking edge. Knob height a little bit lower than brand new, obviously, but this tire's held up really well, and I'm probably crazy for taking it off with so much life left in it, but I like having fresh rubber. Overall, great tire, but let's talk about pros and cons of some of the other tires I've tried recently to give you an idea. This tire I have next to it here is the IRC VX40. This is another new tire. The difference between these two tires is the VX40 is the intermediate to hard terrain tire, so it's got tighter knob spacing. The knobs aren't quite as tall, and the compound is a little softer for better friction on hard surfaces. The VX30 is the intermediate to soft terrain tire, so it's got more aggressive knob pattern, a little bit harder compound, but not too hard. And I'll talk about that in a bit. The VX40 is a good tire. Anytime the terrain underneath you didn't move, meaning like rock, roots, even pavement, this thing had really great grip. But what I didn't like about this tire is when the terrain moves underneath you. When you've got like gravel, loamy dirt, mud, this tire just didn't dig. It tended to wash a little bit when the terrain got soft. That's where I think the VX30 excelled, is it really was just a better all-around tire in a variety of conditions. It would really dig in the soft terrain, but it would still hold up well enough in hard terrain, rocks, roots, stuff like that, that I really liked it. Let's move on to the next tire in the lineup. This is the Shinko 216 Fatty. This tire, absolutely terrible. I cannot recommend enough that you avoid this tire. It is a pretty blatant copy of the Golden Tire GT216, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it's like 2 pounds heavier and it lasts half as long. People try to save money. This tire is maybe 75% of the cost of the Golden Tire, but given that it's going to last you half as long, it's a false sense of economy in buying this tire. So skip that tire. That tire's junk. Let's not even talk about it anymore. Okay, let's talk about the standard that a lot of people are loving. This is the Golden Tire Fatty, the GT216AA. You can see how much taller this tire is than the IRCs. It is a pretty good sized tire. A little wider, definitely noticeably taller. This tire lasts for freaking ever. It has a really stiff compound. Pros and cons, right? It is gonna last you a long time, but what I notice is that compound is a little hard and it tends to want to slide on slimy, wet, hard surfaces. Even wet pavement, it's not great on. So if you're running this as a dual sport tire because it is DOT legal, not the best for wet pavement, but it is gonna last a long time. Slick rocks, 45-degree roots, this tire it tends to slide a little bit, but because of that super tall sidewall, you can run a really low pressure if you run tubeless, and that's gonna help with that a little bit. I like to run mooses, so I can't really adjust my pressures. So this tire, I ran it for a very long time and I thought it was my favorite tire, but only after trying the two IRC versions did I realize there were better choices out there. Another con is this tire is so big that a lot of people forget to adjust their suspension when they put it on. They don't adjust their forks in the triple clamps. You want to lower that front end to compensate for the taller front tire. That's how you get your handling back. A lot of people try these fat tires and they complain that it slows down the handling too much. Well, some of that is true. They're bigger, wider, heavier tires, but if you're not adjusting your forks to change the geometry of your bike, then it's really going to slow down the handling. All right, let's move on to the Michelin Enduro Medium. This is also in a fat tire size, but as you can see, this is a little smaller than the Golden tire, a little shorter, a little bit more of a rounded or peaky profile. The Golden tire has a pretty flat profile. So what I noticed with the Michelin, it's a slightly softer compound, not by much, slightly softer. The Michelin handled a little bit quicker. It didn't quite last as long. You can see it's got some missing knobs right there. It chunks a little bit, but overall good all-around tire. This one's also DOT legal. This is one that pretty much all the hard enduro guys are running right now. Everybody in hard enduro that runs Michelin runs this tire in this size, so it can't be all that bad, right? No real complaints about this tire. I think I would probably pick it over the Golden tire if I wanted a fat tire. That would probably be my choice. All right, let's move on to the last tire. This is another tire I absolutely hate. This is the stock Dunlop AT81 that comes on most Austrian bikes from the factory. I ride this basically to break in the bike, and then it goes in the trash. Or actually, not in the trash, I keep it and I sell the bike with that tire on it so I can put new tires on. So back to the VX30. Again, it's a good long-lasting tire. It's probably not gonna last as long as the Golden tire, but I'm getting really good life out of it. No knob tearing to speak of, just typical wear that you would expect. The compound it's soft enough that I feel like it gets better grip on harder terrain than the Golden tire or the Michelin. Not quite as good as the VX40, but still really good. But it has that aggressive knob pattern, the taller knobs, the wider knob spacing that make it a really, really good tire when the terrain is soft or loose. Overall, it's just a good tire for just about every type of condition. Here you can see the brand new one. Good rounded profile, handles really well. Maybe the only difference you might notice if you're coming from a fat tire is that shorter sidewall. It's not going to be able to absorb some of those sharp edged hits like a Golden tire fatty, low pressures, for example. All I did is I softened up my suspension a little bit, and really I don't notice it. I do notice the consistent braking performance, the good turn in and handling, and just the confidence I get from running this tire. So that is why this is my current favorite front tire over anything else I've tried. I cannot recommend it enough. The price is right. It's like $70, correct me if I'm wrong, 70 bucks. It's a good price, good tire, and I'm a big fan. Now I know just because everybody's curious, this is what I'm running on the rear right now. This is the Tusk Talon. This is their new sort of hard enduro tire. It is, well, you can see the tread pattern here. It looks just about identical to the IRC JX8. It's very, very similar tread pattern. Compound is very, very soft, just like the JX8. It has a fairly stiff sidewall, but a very, very soft crown. I'm running it with tubeless, no issues at all running tubeless with this tire. I have 6 or so hours on it and very minimal wear, which is great. You can't really tell. The jury's still out on this tire. With only 6 hours, I'm not gonna review it, just letting everyone know what I'm running at the moment. I will put out a review on this tire soon. The price is absolutely amazing on this tire. It's like $59 right now. The JX8 is like $105, $110 now, so it's almost half the price of a JX8. If I can get JX8-like performance out of this tire and similar life, then I will be very happy. If not, then I'll go back to the IRC. But it is very, very similar. It's about the same width. They're both 110 100s. They both measure out to be about 128 millimeters wide in actual measurement. But this tire is a little bit taller. It's got a little bit taller sidewall than the JX8, which means you could probably run a little bit lower pressure in it. I'm running it at 2 PSI right now, which is pretty similar to what I run the JX8 at. And it's holding up well. It seems to handle well, but yeah, just a little bit overall taller than the JX8. So that could be good or bad depending on what you like. It might allow the carcass to, conform to rocks and roots a little bit better, but we've all been sort of impatiently waiting for IRC to release a bigger JX8. Not that we really need more grip, but it would be nice to have a little bit taller and a little bit wider tire, just so you can run those pressures nice and low, have it really conform to the terrain. Hard to complain about the JX8 right now. It's a really great tire. This tire, we'll see if it lives up to that same level of performance as the IRC. So that's it for today. If you do end up trying the VX30, let me know in the comments how you like it, and stay tuned for a full review on the Tusk Talon hybrid.